At a certain point, you have to understand that the truth is always going to come out. I'm just trying to give the information that I know for sure. Sometimes people take half truth and put them together, and then it creates a misdirection or a diversion. You cannot fix a problem with the same mindset that created it. Right now, we have the ability to turn the tables for the benefit of mankind. No matter what anybody says, it may take a week, it may take a month, it may take a year, it may take thousands of years, but the truth will always sustain itself. And we are at that point in history right now that we must, as a global population, as a citizens of this planet, not as citizens of the United States or the UK or this country, that country, as a planetary population, recognize that one, we are all connected. Literally, we're all connected. If you study quantum physics, you already understand that. But we are all connected, and our differences have been accentuated over the decades and over hundreds of years. Our religion, our creed, our ethnicity, our color of our skin, to create diversion. If you think about it, divide and conquer. That's an old saying. So you first divide the populace and then you conquer them. So I'm asking for people to unite. You would have to be blind and deaf to not recognize that what is happening is not normal and is not justified. The only way that you can control people is by keeping them in ignorance. But as soon as a person becomes empowered with knowledge, the one thing is that nobody can control you once you are aware. You cannot be victimized once you're aware and once you've been empowered with knowledge. But if this doesn't get rectified and gets rectified in the very, very near future, within the next few weeks, that our world, and when I say our world, I'm not just talking about where I live or where you live, but our world, our planet is going to be a different place, and our children will never have the same opportunity as we did. They will be sicker, they will be controlled, they will not have any privacy, they will not have any future, because this will usher in what I believe will be the next phase, which is extinction of the human race. The difference between fear and danger is that danger is real, fear is an illusion. But when you start painting fear and you start showing danger as misdirecting where the danger is coming from, and you think that the bear's coming from here, but the tiger's coming from behind, and that's what I'm wanting people to be aware of. We get programmed by our parents and by our teachers or whatever in the first 7 years. If a child is raised in the house of bigots, then they will have the same belief system as their parents did. And when they talk about the terrible teens, that usually the terrible teens is when they're losing the personality of their parents and forming their own personality. And when there's a conflict between the personality of the parents and themselves, that's when you have that revolt of the terrible teens. The world needs to wake up and understand that what's happening right now is an illusion, and it's going to mandate other things coming down. I guess what's controversial is that it's the truth, and the truth has not been something that we've been given much of over the last so many decades. That we're given the information that we're told is truth, and it's shoved down our throats, and we're expected to believe it, and it's the only source of information that we have. And then there's a little bit of a division between the types of channels. You've got the left channels and the right channels. You've got like the Foxes and versus the CNNs. So you've got a little bit of discrepancy between those type of tweets, but they're still controlled by the same puppet masters. And so the information that we're getting is highly filtered. It's censored. It's vast majority of times it's not true. You can actually look at the news here in the United States, and then you can be in a different country and you can see what true journalism is, because they're actually reporting different things. I mean, this is something that you see in the one-sided argument that's given oftentimes in mainstream media. They have an agenda. You know, when you start looking at what the actual comments were, or when you start looking at what the actual decisions were, or what the actual complete press conference was, then you start to see that mainstream media took the statements out of context. And of course, you can adulterate things by cutting and pasting and editing things. Fake media is a real thing, has been a real thing. You've been hearing more about it in the last 4 years, but it's always been fake media. Truth has never been something that has been fought for, at least in the last 5 or 10 years in the United States, as far as fighting for it at home. We've taken things for granted. We always think we are in the United States, so we live in the land of the free, home of the brave, so it's not something that we have to worry about. It's taken for granted, and yet slowly things are disappearing. Our rights are being taken away slowly and slowly. when we start to recognize where the problems lie, then we can start to do something about it. The problem is we don't know where the problems lie because it's been kept from us. And the misinformation campaign that the media's put out, not letting people know really what the truth is, that it's not possible that there could be deception to this level. That's called cognitive dissonance, right? Cognitive dissonance is when you are presented with the truth, but you cannot accept it because by doing so would jeopardize your entire belief system. You'd have to start questioning all the other beliefs that you've had, because that one belief system that's being asked to be looked at and that's being scrutinized, that you're now starting to question, many of your other belief systems have been built upon that. And so to accept this new truth, you would have to disavow all the other beliefs, and you can't do that because now at that point it's beyond what a person can survive with. It's not my place to say how people should think, but I think that's the key point, is they should think. They should start to think. And telling a person how to think versus just telling them to start thinking, because when you start thinking, that's first and foremost where we need to begin. So step out, be aware, learn, open your eyes, open your ears, and be pro information, not censor information. Be open to debate.